Hello. Today is Thursday in the fourth week of Lent. My younger sister lived with me for 10 years. And in the evening, when I would come home from the parish office, we would sit and watch television. And it would always be some sort of cop or detective show. You know, it was a lot of Law and Order, a few CSIs, but a lot of Law and Order. You know, they always are looking for the clues. There's a crime, and you're introduced to that, and then you're looking for the culprit. And when you gather enough evidence, then you hand that over to the prosecution so that this crime can be dealt with. I watched a lot of those with her over 10 years. And it strikes me that, you know, there's something about human beings. We need to be forensic detectives as well. Not in a physical sense, but in a spiritual sense. You know, there are times in our lives, I know for me that's true, where it's been difficult, sometimes painful. Sometimes, you know, I doubted the presence of God or God's care and compassion. And it's in those times that it's important to look back on my life. Because when I look back to so many other times that have occurred before that, when I felt in a similar kind of way, I look back and I can recognize moments of grace. Some people call it coincidence, but you know, I don't think so. I believe that the hand of God is on us and with us all the time, and that God directs our lives in many ways, inviting us, not pushing us, not forcing us, but gently guiding us, because there are too many times that I've been touched by the grace of God, usually through another person. But I've seen that again and again. And it isn't until I look back at those times and I say, wow, how did that happen? And I recognize the hand of God. In fact, I kind of say, I find God's fingerprints when I do a little detective work on that moment, that incident, that grace-filled moment. And I didn't see the hand of God, but now I find God's fingerprints all over that. And so when I come to a new time, when I'm feeling low or forgotten, or somehow that grace has abandoned me, and I think back to the past, I realize that God that brought me this far is not going to let me down. That having found the fingerprints of God on my past life, that same God is with me through everything. And finding those fingerprints in my past gives me always the reason to hope in the future. Today, I think the scriptures invite us to look for the fingerprints of God in our lives, to look at how God has been with us, how God has helped us, and to realize that that same God is with us. And if we can recognize that in the past, perhaps we can recognize it a little more clearly, a little more quickly in our present life. It's a wonderful thing. You know, all of us, I think, are called to be detectives, to look for the fingerprints of God in our lives, and recognizing them, to give thanks to God for his presence, his constant, faithful presence. Have a grace-filled journey to Easter.